Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Late Night Grin. This is episode 14. We are mere hours removed from the 6-star classic between QT Marshall and CM Punk. I'm, of course, joined as always by the great Confirmed Shoot and Bob O'Neill. Bob, happy to be grinning again, pal?
Oh, yeah. I love it, man. It's the highlight of my week every week.
Yeah, me too. Shoot, how you feeling to be here, pal? Last night was special.
Yeah. I mean, this is a victory lap for me. You were very upset about this match even happening. Things got very heated on the last episode.
Guys, what are we doing here?
What are you doing here? This is
Your
band.
No, Joseph, we're doing the distraction today.
The distraction?
Yeah.
The Monday Night Raw of my schedule?
Yes. That's not very nice.
Hang on. Why Shoot here then?
I don't know. Shoot, why are you here?
Wait,
I was told to be here, man. Wait,
hang on a second. So this is on Fightful.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, so hold on. That means we're not behind a paywall?
Correct.
Fuck Bob O'Neill.
And I said, psychosis!
This one's for all pals and O'Neill. Such a feed from the jaws of victory with the pipe gun and the chubby cheese. Distraction. Hey! Podcast. Pure filth. Wins and losses don't mean shit, so watch Joseph grin. Jezza do his bit. Distraction. Hey! Roll up. 1, 2, 3.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well on this great Thanksgiving day. I assume everybody's just watched the football. You watched QT Marshall and CM Punk have the match of the year last night on AEW Dynamite. An absolute, Joseph, do you believe this madman, Tony Khan, really gave us Bud Matt and Okada in a 60-minute draw on Dynamite last night?
That didn't surprise me, but Alexa Bliss getting involved in the finish was a shocker, I have to say. You never doubt AEW, brother. What a time to be alive, huh? What a time to be a professional wrestling fan. What a great day to talk about what we're thankful for, Jeremy, you know?
What a great day to do this show as we are joined by Robert O'Neill, who everyone knows Robert O'Neill. He's on the show every week for some
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, true.
True.
O'Neill, how you doing, buddy? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I'm doing well. You know, the Bears just beat the Lions, so going well.
That's good. Good to hear that. Good to hear that. We also have the Confirmed Shoot is here, technically making his distraction debut. Shoot, how you doing?
I'm good. Does the money hit my PayPal now, or will it be after the show?
Depends on the demo number. They wait for the demo to come in, and then they go from there.
Fair.
Yeah, look, we don't get paid for this, so I don't know what you're expecting anything out of this for.
I mean, that's not my problem. I get paid for this. I was promised.
Can we just kayfabe this while Bob's here at least?
Yeah, Neil definitely doesn't get anything. So
my apologies. That was very unprofessional on my part.
Guys, it's Thanksgiving. We're here to talk about everything that we're thankful for in the world of wrestling and life, I guess. Joseph, you're a big Thanksgiving fan, right?
Yes, famously, the Brits are big Thanksgiving guys. You know, there's nothing I like more than coming on here and talking about being thankful. It's not like we put ourselves over a lot on this show, so God forbid we get emotional and sappy and soppy on here. I'm looking forward to doing that. I believe it or not, guys, I actually have some, I don't want to say serious, that seems like a lie, but I have some relatively interesting things I'm thankful for in the great world of professional wrestling, you know? I don't know if anyone else does, but I'm looking forward to getting into it, Jeremy.
I don't have any, so I'm glad you have some.
Yeah. Fair.
Do you want to start, Joseph? I don't trust these other two.
But they are guests, though.
Prepare for this at all.
But
okay. All right, I'll do a formal one, and then we'll see where this takes us, okay?
Okay.
This is genuine. I am thankful to have CM Punk back in professional wrestling. There's a lot of layers to that for me. Firstly, the first dance is one of my favorite moments in the history of the industry, without a doubt. But as a nerd that talks about this as much as I do, it's been a real pleasure to cover him in this last 3 months, week to week, which is something obviously I never had a chance to do before. Closest I got was writing features about events that he fought on in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, which was less fun. He's incredible. And I don't think I ever would have fully appreciated just how brilliant that man is if he didn't come back. Which is sad in some ways, but you have to experience it sometimes, you know? People talk about the slop at times and they take shots at his in-ring, but when you actually live it and you watch the matches in real time and you go through the ups and downs of that roller coaster, he's an all-timer. And I think he's just getting started in the fleet. So that's my first one. I am genuinely, sincerely thankful to have CM Punk back in the world of professional wrestling.
Shoot, you're a big Punk guy.
Yeah, this has been quite fun for me. I went through that period where like I bought into all the shit that we were doing on Twitter. We were kind of burying him, and like I think I forgot how much I liked the guy. I was very excited when like the rumors started and it became clear he was coming, but I wasn't even remotely prepared for like how I felt when he actually returned.
Yeah.
And still feel every time his music hits. Like, yeah, he's like, it's weird. I don't want to say he's like a throwback to like my glory days as a wrestling fan, because in a lot of ways, I think these probably are my glory days as a wrestling fan, which will sound hyperbolic to some people, but I genuinely feel that way. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. There's something special about him. Piggybacking off of that, Danielson goes right in the same category.
Yes.
Like what he's doing now is, I mean, for someone like me who didn't really see a whole lot of his indie run, obviously I knew about him. I heard of him. I knew what he was doing, but I didn't really watch it. Yeah, this has been special because this is on another level from what he did as Daniel Bryan. Like I don't want to say it's not comparable because that's not fair, but it's totally different.
I think, and Jeremy, definitely, I think you share this take. Like, I'd have to sit down and think about it and consider it, but he has to be one of the great 2-month like match catalogs ever, right?
Yeah.
Like, his first match was really just 2 months ago in AEW, and he's had a couple classics. He's had matches I'll remember forever. He's had some just really nice little TV matches. He had one at Universal, which was genuinely good with Solo. I'm happy to talk about both guys individually, but I think it's worth, while we're sitting here and having fun on Thanksgiving, guys, I have kind of a big picture question about those guys. US wrestlers of the last 20 years, who's better than either of those guys? Where are those two guys? They're both top 5, right? They have to be.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Cena's up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Cena, AJ, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the big 4.
I made a list kind of similar the other day, and I mean, I put Brock and Joe on it with Cena and AJ and Punk and Danielson. Right. But I mean, Brock's just a personal one, obviously. You could put Cena on there for sure. And
I don't think it's a reach. It's just he's such a unique career that it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Jeremy, any comments on either Phil or Bryan Danielson?
I mean, as far as CM Punk goes, like I was excited for his return, but I was never like this big CM Punk guy. And kind of like you, Joseph, like until you experience it, and we've experienced it since August, it's something different with him being back and everything he brings to the table. Because when he came back, I was like, all right, cool. Like CM Punk's coming back. We didn't really know what his mindset was going to be. We didn't really know how he was going to fit in the current landscape after being off for 7 years. And when he was off that long, and because the WWE run ended the way it did, I think there were legitimate questions of what does he still offer in 2021? Because you forget how good he is. We did the ROH watch of his match with Raven. It's like, oh man, yeah, this guy, he thinks on a different level than a lot of these guys because he was so bitter about wrestling this entire time, and like, he didn't really talk about it, and you didn't really get his appreciation for the good stuff that he did because he didn't talk about that stuff a lot. It was just a lot of WWE burial stuff anytime he did talk about wrestling.
Right.
And when he was on the backstage stuff, like it was more just like, he was popping himself with, oh, this is what I would do with in this storyline. It's like, all right, he wouldn't actually do this shit if he had some type of now like experience it week to week, it's different, and you see the level he is on compared to the vast majority of everyone else in the business. And Danielson, I've always been a Danielson guy. I've always said he's the best. I I think people definitely forgot it when he was Daniel Bryan because he was so limited. And now that those cuffs are off, like you're reminded this guy's the fucking best.
Yeah.
Well, the thing to remember too is like even with him being quote unquote limited, he was still in the conversation as the best wrestler in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the thing about Punk that was easy to forget and became obvious once he actually came back was like he's the absolute perfect fit for them.
Yeah.
Because their fan base was his fan base.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the overlap there is huge. And like we've talked about this in the past, Joe, like the connection Punk has with those people is kind of hard to match with any other wrestler in a long time.
Yes, it is. It's actually, especially him in Chicago, harkens back to territory days, which is kind of weird when you think about what wrestling is now. It doesn't really make any sense, but it's true.
Yeah, they Punk in WWE always felt like an outsider. He did a really good job of making it stay that way. I mean, that was an intentional move on his part. And I mean, he was an outsider, but like he presented himself that way too. And so you had the fan base that genuinely just liked him. Yeah. They were CM Punk fans. I don't want to act like this was a massive fan base, but it was a percentage of the audience. And that audience is watching AEW now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it makes perfect sense that now that we know that like Punk was Tony Khan's number one target from day one. And obviously we didn't know what his mindset was going to be. I know, Joe, you thought maybe he was just there for the money but now that we know he's motivated and like happy and into it. Yeah. I mean, we're just getting started with him.
Yeah.
As we saw last night with that match with QT.
Yes. No, and I think that's a big thing too. Like seeing how happy he is compared to the last couple of years in WWE, maybe even longer. I haven't gone back and watched, but just seeing how happy he is to be there every week and just he's enjoying it. He hasn't lost a step, I don't think. It's been great. And, on a personal level, obviously, I don't know that, the Late Night Grin would exist without him coming back either, because that was really a starting point for us, and that's special to me too.
That's a good point, Bob, absolutely, and a good plug. LateNightGrin.com. Sorry, it's late.
Is it the?
No, it's not the.
Joseph, it's not late. It's 3 p.m. We do the show every
week. Sorry. I will say that the first dance will go down as one of the most magical wrestling moments ever because there are 101 debuts in wrestling history. That is a very unique circumstance where a building was filled on the idea of a guy coming in, but there was enough doubt that he wouldn't be there, that there was an anxiety that I had sitting at home across the world. I'll never forget him play on that Rampage deal on Fight. I'll never forget them running down the lineup while the place started chanting CM Punk and they took that shot of the ramp. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget the static. And most importantly, I'll never forget him taking that knee on the ramp and just that shot of him it's one of the most on a human level, I think you could show that to anyone in the world and they would get something out of it. Because at the end of the day, it's a story of a guy who people waited a long time for. Because they love him. And I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't really get why people still waited or chanted or give a shit. I'll be real, I didn't understand it. I feel like, leave him. He doesn't want to do it. Let him go. But thank goodness people did keep chanting and did keep caring because it made that moment feel almost like it was so kind of weirdly romantic and poetic, right? It was incredible. It's a special moment. If AEW tops that moment as like just an individual snapshot of the industry, they'd have done something special. I'm telling you, that was different.
It was a culmination of a 7-year story that wasn't a storyline.
Yeah.
So that's literally what it was.
It's something that I've said this before, but when I have to find a CM Punk video for an article, that pops up. I think it's still like their featured video on their YouTube page.
Yeah, it's got a lot of views.
Yeah, like when I have to find a CM Punk video, I'll just watch that video. I'll watch the entrance and everything because even when you were just talking about it, Joseph, like still kind of gives me chills. And I'm good at that. In the same boat as you is like, I got why they were chanting and everything, but I was just like, just let it go, let it be. And then when he actually came back, it's like, okay, it makes sense. It was
a beautiful story of wrestling's 2021, no doubt. And again, that moment's great on its own in a vacuum, but when we've seen what he's done since, is even better. Genuinely, you know, the QT Marshall match aside, which is definitely in the conversation, the Eddie Kingston match is a match that will go down in the history books. He's had a special little run here so far, so we're just getting started with Punk. He's going to be one of the big stories in 2022 also, obviously. Now, Bob O'Neill, a man famous for being thankful, thanks me every hour for letting him on the distraction, thanks me every second for changing his life and making him a star on Fightful.com.
I don't get any of this.
Thanks me, huh?
I don't get any of this. He doesn't.
Thanks me in 8 different group chats every day about how I transformed his career and the perception
None
of
of
Bob
which
O'Neill.
Jeremy's in.
Factual.
I'm in one of them.
Bob? No, he doesn't do it in those ones. Bob,
Yeah, I know.
what comes to mind when I say to you, Bob O'Neill, what are you thankful for in professional wrestling?
I mean, I think, you know, and this is kind of a bigger picture thing, but I'm thankful specifically, you know, they paid off the Hangman Kenny thing as good as they could, or I mean, as good as anyone could have asked for. And it's just nice, you know, to have a company where you can trust that they are going to pay things off in the correct way.
This is such a lie.
No,
This
it
is
is
a
though.
lie, O'Neill.
No, because like, and we talked about it a little bit last week, you know, with the Brock Roman stuff in Saudi Arabia, where like I had to worry that Brock's going to win because he shouldn't win there, and it wasn't really something that I had to worry about with Hangman and Kenny. Like I didn't even want to address it because wasn't something that. So no, I like that. Like the investment being rewarded is nice.
Jeremy, you know the money that you'd set aside to pay Shoot?
Yeah.
Bob, double his pay. Double it. What a moment that was, Shoot. Can you believe he just did that with his first statement?
Yeah, actually, I can. Bob is coming out of his shell finally. That's going to be one of the things I'm thankful for in 2021 is Bob, you know, knocking off the act and you know, becoming a genuine pro wrestling fan again.
I'm
very proud of him.
Person.
That too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll just go ahead and transition into my real one, which I think we've already gotten to the point where we're taking it for granted again because it's what we're used to. But, you know, we've only had fans back for 5 months now, 4 months now. Like, that's it, man. Like, pro wrestling's back. Like, I actually, for the most part, I enjoyed what AEW did during the pandemic. I thought they did a pretty good job with it. But the second we got fans back, like, there's nothing like it, man. There's nothing like it. And I know, like, you know, I don't want to gloss over the issues that we still have going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are all relevant. I'm, you know, unlike, you know, some people here that are next to me on the screen, I actually take this stuff seriously still. But it's still nice to have like these loud crowds again, at least on one of the shows, the one I watch. It's just nice, man. It's nice. We have pro wrestling back. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I have to say, and we reviewed it regularly on here, and Shoot and I talked about it often, AEW especially did a fabulous job during the pandemic. Sounds so dumb, right? But like, you know, when everything was locked down, there was Daly's place and had a few fans, whatever, even when it was empty. But I will say, anytime I've revisited that stuff, we really were desperate for entertainment because, man, wrestling needs crowds so much. And that's a great one from Shoot. Like, he's so true. It's 4 months, man, you know? But wrestling crowds, they're, if a wrestling promotion does its job right, they're arguably the most important character. And I know that sounds silly, and to some people that would be almost bullshit, but again, I listed Punk a minute ago. CM Punk's a great professional wrestler to me because of how easily he can actually manipulate an audience. That's what makes him so brilliant. To me, that's the art of this nonsense, you know?
Yeah, we saw that last night.
Oh man, when they came up for QT's comeback at the 45-minute mark, I couldn't believe he'd turned Chicago like that. Jeremy, you were a big fan of the Thunderdome. Your thoughts on this blasphemy from the Confederate?
WWE still uses the Thunderdome. What are you talking about? It's just a bunch of screens with piped in noise. Based on what I gather from watching the little bit of television that I watch, I'm very glad crowds are back. We definitely took that that stuff for granted, man.
Yeah.
Remember when people are like, crowds are bad. We can tell better stories without crowds interrupting chants.
Listen, we don't have to dunk on Seth Rollins. It's Thanksgiving, you know.
Sorry.
No, I think it's. I'll be honest here. We talked about it a lot, and like, I think it's just a case of people haven't watched the same wrestling I have, and they just want wrestling to be something different than I do. Genuinely, I'm being really honest with myself. Like, the audience that's saying that wants people to be able to deliver monologues without having any kind of interruption, and like that. So the idea that anyone wants monologues is insane to me. You know, it's just a different audience. It's a different thing. Like, if you want to hear Seth's whole speech for 15 minutes, God bless. Do it in the Thunderdome. Enjoy yourself, you know. Bob, you're one of those people. What do you think now?
No, I mean, I'm really happy crowds are back too. You know, when we started watching Ring of Honor, they obviously still didn't have fans there, and it's different, especially when you go back to it. You know, when you watch a couple shows a week that do have fans there, like, it's such a stark contrast that, you know,
Absolutely.
I hope we never have to go back to that again for obvious reasons. Just it's night and day, man.
Yeah. Just try and get your friends in order, Bob, and we'll have to go back to it, okay? Jeremy, I believe you're yet to give something you are thankful for. Please step up to the podium, pal. Go ahead.
First off, can we address the elephant in the room that O'Neal was not thankful for Brock Lesnar returning while he was
saving it, I think. I believe he was saving it. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know we were doing multiples because I really only have like one.
Brother, this is we're going 5 hours.
I think I have 3, so that was one of them, and I have one more after that. So
you just basically blew Bob's high spot. You just stopped the match in the middle of the heat segment.
Main event spot there.
In the middle of the heat
segment when the show started, and that one hit me right in the middle, which is why I'm so good at this.
Factual. LateNightGrin.com. Now, basically, Jeremy in the middle of his heat segment just looked at the people and went, "Can you believe he didn't do the Hurricane Rana in the shine there, guys?" Very good. Now, Jeremy, what are you thankful for?
Jon Moxley. Definitely in-ring stuff. I'm thankful for what Jon Moxley has done in taking the step to enter inpatient alcohol rehab, because I think that's a very big step that not a lot of people would have done, especially in his position. I think he shed extra light. It's become a big topic this year in wrestling, and I'm thankful that it's become a big topic.
Absolutely.
It's something we've talked about, like mental health and taking care of your mental health in wrestling. And I think Moxley doing that and AEW mentioning that on air, again, put that topic in a bigger spotlight and showed like it's okay to do these things and you're not alone. You don't have to be worried about that. So Jon Moxley for that. Jon Moxley for also like reviving sort of the indies, like him showing up in GCW and going on that run. Like it brought them to another level with that stuff. And then obviously everything he did in AEW this year, whether it was the start of the year and you know, helping bring barbed wire exploding death matches to the US, giving Eddie Kingston, like helping boosting him up with the tag team. So I think Jon Moxley had a hell of a year. And writing a book, I read his book. I can't read, but I read it, and like from what I could tell, it was very good.
Good.
So
I need to read it. Yeah,
it's tremendous. So Moxley for everything he did on screen and off screen.
I think we all can have something to say about Jon Moxley, but quickly to lock in on the first part of what you said, it is absolutely something that I was going to bring up. I'm glad you did. The trend of professional wrestlers discussing their mental health and being honest with their audience. And listen, they don't owe the audience anything, but it sometimes in our bubbles where, if we're being honest, we all share an awful lot on social media. It's just like us, you know, and we're all kind of deep till we're talking to each other all the time. We all know each other from that world. I think sometimes we lose sight of how kind of like important it is that a guy of Moxley's stature is honest with that stuff, you know? I think when I go on a show as dumb as this and talk about my issues, it's like, well, yeah, whatever. But Jon Moxley is a throwback to the kind of tough man of yesteryear, right? The bruising brawler of pro wrestling's past. So when he does it, it's important to remember that there's a million people, allegedly, that watch Dynamite every week. And a whole lot of dudes that watch it and probably really relate to Jon Moxley as the badass, they want to anyway, you know, the badass dude that seemingly had the perfect life and beat the shit out of everyone. It's really important, you know, and him and King as a tag team, they both fit the identity I just described. The Blade was another one. The Bunny's been honest bad. There's other names, and I'm going to forget people, but it's absolutely an important trend. AEW has done a good job of how they've handled that. You know, I think professional wrestling is a really kind of daunting combination of factors. When you really think about what a pro wrestler goes through with body image, with the physical struggles of an athlete, with, you know, the confidence to cut promos, with all of that stuff, man. Think of all the things you need to be a successful professional wrestler. Right, exactly. Like, there's an awful lot that goes into being a major league professional wrestler, and it's high time that these guys are honest with themselves before they're honest with us, because we're irrelevant, right? We're just the audience. But it sure helps when they have the courage to go public with this stuff, because it helps someone else out there, and that's absolutely great one. Anything on that kind of bigger topic, guys, before we, because I want to look focusing on Moxley the performer too, but anything on just that part of the.
I mean, it's important.
My bad.
I do think, and again, like you, that's the big thing we do is like they don't owe this to us.
Right.
We don't want to make it sound like we're saying that, but you know, I think we're starting, not fully, but for the most part, we're starting to get away from like making fun of people for stuff like that.
Yes.
And anytime that like someone that people look up to come out with things like that, it further contributes to us getting further and further away from that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing. You know, not everyone likes talking about, you know, the mental health. I mean, I can personally say I'm not, you know, I don't really like talking about that very much, but like, I mean, it's important, you know, like Moxley stuff, what he has going on right now. Like I have family history with that, not me personally, but like I relate to that completely. Like, I'm proud of him, you know, like, I don't care if he ever comes back to professional wrestling. And I mean that in the most, you know, like I just want him to be good as a human being. And if he can do that and come back and be a tremendous professional wrestler, then God bless him. And I hope it happens. But yeah, man, like just take care of yourself. Everybody out there, like take care of yourself. That's the most important thing. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people you love. That's our number one role.
My God, good stuff, Shoot. Bob, anything to add on that kind of broader topic?
No, you guys kind of summed it up, but like, I mean, I am glad that the industry, I think for the first time probably ever, is in a place where like a top guy can step away, a top guy can talk about issues like this, because, you know, the past however long, guys would have just put this on the back burner and tried to cope with it. And, you know, it's important to be able to address when you need help, and you could be helping other people too.
Absolutely. Now, it is worth saying, and is nowhere near as important as what we just discussed, but Jeremy touched on it. Man, love to Jon Moxley for being if we're being honest, he's kind of the face of what this whole movement has become over the last 2-3 years, in the sense that he is the guy that has decided he's going to reshape his perception outside of WWE. And that could easily have just been done in the home of AEW and a little bit of New Japan. But to Jeremy's point about what he did in GCW, he's bringing back the unpredictability that professional wrestling lacked for so long. You know, he's a guy that once upon a time, the greatest professional wrestlers in the world would have these fascinating careers where they would show up just about everywhere. And man, have we got far away from that over the last 20 years, you know? Yeah. And Moxley feels like it's a throwback to that. And it's done in a modern way, obviously, and people can scoff at him and Gage and what they do. They're going to be proven wrong. History will be kind to what Jon Moxley did with Nick Gage. Of course it will. And, you know, I think there's something to be said, again, on a much lesser scale. But as a performer, I think when we look at a guy like Miro, or we look at, of course, what Brody did, I think Moxley is like the first of this kind of era that was like, okay, I may seem great in WWE, just watch me when I have this thing in my own hands, you know? And he's been just an absolutely essential top guy for the industry. He's you know, top of the big board, as good as it gets.
And I think it's easy to forget, just because of the way the timing was. He did not leave WWE to go to AEW. He left WWE to do other stuff, and it just worked out that, like, from the way he sounds, and we have no reason not to believe him. Like, he didn't even talk to Tony Khan about AEW till, you know, he was already free and was going to do other stuff. So, it's easy to forget that, because that's just how it feels naturally now, you know, as we started to see people do that. Yeah. But yeah, he was just leaving because he didn't want to do it anymore. He was just going to go do his own thing, and then it just worked out. Then he ended up in AEW.
Yeah,
absolutely. Bob, anything on that element of the great Jon Moxley?
No, I mean, I'm glad that he has been able to do this over the past couple of years, and just really incredible stuff. Added another layer to his career because I haven't seen his stuff before WWE, and it's been great.
Jeremy Lambert, this was your suggestion. It was a great one. Any final thoughts on Jon Moxley?
Not just Moxley with the mental health stuff, and again, AEW has done a good job bringing it to light. I do want to give a shout out to just like every wrestler who has been open about this stuff, because you guys know that I listen to a lot of interviews, and the WWE people included, like even they are being very open about this stuff as well. And I think that for them to use any type of platform to talk about this stuff, it helps someone out there. So, the fact that it is just becoming more normalized, I think is great. I really do, because the more people that talk about it, the more people that, hear from these top guys that, hey, I go through these struggles as well. You are not alone. Hopefully the more people it helps.
Absolutely. My next one, Bob mentioned them earlier. This is a little bit of a somber one, but we're on that path, so I may as well do it now, and then we can kind of swing back round and dunk on NXT 2.0. Bob mentioned Ring of Honor. Really difficult for me as I watch some of the videos they're producing in promotion of this event, where they don't say it's the last event, but kind of want the audience to want them to take it in just in case, right? There's that vibe, Jeremy. I'm sure you've seen some of the media surrounding this event as it comes up here in a couple of weeks. This isn't one that Shoot or Bob are going to have a big kind of endorsement of, but I think Jeremy can certainly share. I'm certainly, as someone that loves wrestling right now, I'm certainly thankful for what Ring of Honor has been for the last, 19 years, nearly 20 now. And it's been easy to lose sight of that during their downswings because they've had some, and there's been times where I haven't liked the product and I've had no interest in the product. But there's also been times where it was the home to the alternative. Bob's disgusted by this. He's left.
Yeah, he killed the promotion, and then he's just like, he can't. He's not, honestly, I think he left in shame. I really think
that's fine. I understand. It was the home of the alternative. I think people underestimate its partnership with New Japan in the mid-2010s and how that how that set the stage for what AEW is now in terms of this idea where the wrestling world feels at home, where Minoru Suzuki can be received with a hero in America rather than being having to play a bullshit role from the 90s, as we often saw with WCW back in the day. And I think Ring of Honor was important in that. I think it was important in the mid-2000s with the Noah guys. I think Ring of Honor, we mentioned earlier our favorite guys of the last 20 years, and there's an awful lot of Ring of Honor in those names, right? An awful lot. And I don't know what's next for them. No one does, based on what you hear. And everyone seems to do that thing with if it is the end, so I'm going to do the same. If it is the end, I'm thankful for a promotion that, pushed the envelope artistically and was a home to innovation and creativity and all of that good stuff and changed professional wrestling forever. So that's mine. Ring of Honor Wrestling. Jeremy, you're probably the best person to throw this to because I know the guys aren't as familiar with ROH's glory days, so to speak. We've done the show on Tuesdays. Any thoughts just generally on what Ring of Honor's been?
We've said it a lot, Joseph, of how I don't know if there's a more influential promotion in the last 20 years, the Ring of Honor, for all those reasons you said. I mean, my favorite guy of all time is Bryan Danielson. He cut his teeth there. He became that guy in Ring of Honor. CM Punk, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, all those guys, they came up there. The elite guys, PWG as well, but they came up there. So a lot goes into, and a lot is owed to Ring of Honor for that. The style of wrestling where you could have more creative freedom in the ring with that we see in AEW right now, in the Forbidden Door stuff. Ring of Honor was doing a lot of that stuff before it hit sort of mainstream in AEW. So I don't know if there is a more influential promotion. And based on the way everybody is talking, when you listen to these interviews, it seems like Final Battle is the last show.
Yeah.
And then there are some people, I will say, that are, kind of let it play out for April, and they're hoping for the best when it comes to April. And I am too, honestly.
Me too.
I hope April they're able to turn something around and they can be something. It'll never be what it once was, but if it can just be PWG East, like I'm okay with that. Like I think that's still a good place, a good role to have in the industry. But Ring of Honor was something I was gonna say as well, and not only for all the the big picture reasons. If you just kind of micro it down to this year, like they tried their best during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. Like they kept paying talent. They paid talent that they weren't on shows. They re-signed talent. They tried to do things the right way with the bubble. And, if people had the negative test, they sent them home and everything. Like by all accounts, they did right by everybody and they tried to do things the right way. And honestly, that may have hurt them more than anything in the end because they couldn't make any money out of it, and they were a cold product coming out of it, and now they're reduced to at the very minimum going on hiatus at the beginning of the year. So,
brother, Death Before Dishonor, right? You know that you've read it. Shoot, Bob. Again, I know you're not the biggest Ring of Honor guys, but anything to add to that kind of as a what it's been for the last 20 years almost?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, the influence is really the big thing to point out. There's so many guys from there that are still working now, and even if they're not, there's just so many. It really did change the business, even if you, didn't watch the stuff originally. Like, going back and watching it, I've seen, like, oh, there's some stuff that, came from here that they're doing now, and really put some guys on the map, and yeah, I was enjoying it. I was enjoying the current stuff, even without the fans. I still thought the in-ring stuff was good, and I enjoy going back and watching the other stuff. I do hope that they're able to figure it out.
Shoot.
I mean, I think you have to be naive to not recognize their impact over the last, 19 years. Less so in the last few years, I think that's fair to say. But there's definitely that stretch where, and I've never been a Ring of Honor guy. I spent a lot of my time being like a dumb Fed guy. But
yeah,
like I was never like anti Ring of Honor or anything. Like I'm not, but I never watched it or anything like that. I was like, but I mean, just look at all the guys that came from there, and without Ring of Honor, may have never gotten that shot. And even I think you can even say that about Impact to a lesser extent.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's sad. I'm not, I think they were struggling before the pandemic. I think this was kind of like the
accelerated. Yeah, I think it's done it a lot. Honestly, I think for a lot of the promotions, the pandemic has accelerated wherever they were trending.
Right.
I really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, it's never. When I gave it a shot, in recent years it just didn't appeal to me. But that's me personally. That's not me knocking the promotion. That's just. But yeah, I mean, it's still sad. People lose their jobs. That sucks. There's only so many jobs in wrestling, despite, this current belief that like everyone's going to find jobs. They're not, which sucks. At least not, contracted jobs. I mean, they're going to be able to work places, but there's still a big difference between having a contract and a steady pay. So yeah, if they don't come back, then, you have to hope somebody fills that void on some level.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. It is. There's no other way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, sorry to bring the mood down, guys. Anyway, shoot. Let's go back to you, pal. What else are you thankful for in professional wrestling?
Well, I don't really have anything else, but off the top of my head, I mean, I've talked about it a lot, not on here, obviously, on the vehicle I'm a part of, which is latenightgrin.com, where you can sign up for $1 a month to get over, probably 40 hours of content a month.
Yeah.
And it's a weird time to do it, with the things that have gone on with Jay Lethal, and I'm not happy about that. But I am still thankful for AEW as a whole, because I don't think I'm watching wrestling anymore if AEW doesn't exist. Again, they're not without criticism. They certainly deserve criticism right now, but still, as a whole, I still think they've been obviously beneficial to professional wrestling as a whole, and certainly to me as a fan. Like, wrestling's fun again in a way it hasn't been in a long time. I look forward to these shows, I couldn't wait to watch Dynamite last night, the night before Thanksgiving, and I was fired up, to watch Dynamite. And I'm like that every week. That's like, and I didn't, even when like I was kind of, still like WWE or, was doing my gimmicks on Twitter and popping myself, like, there were still nights like, I don't really want to watch this. I guess I will because I got to tweet about it, but I'm never like that with AEW. Like, maybe this, the YouTube shows sometimes maybe I'm not as fired up about, but I look forward to Dynamite and Rampage every week. It's a great feeling. If people don't feel that way, that's fine. But for me personally, it's brought back like as someone who's been a wrestling fan for 30 years, been through ups and downs. Like genuinely, this is like the best time I've ever had as a wrestling fan.
Mm.
And it's not close, I don't think, honestly.
Yeah. No, I can, share that sentiment, a lot of that. Bob, I don't want to kind of make you feel uncomfortable here, but so the reason I have to throw it to Bob here is because about 40 hours ago, Bob had his account suspended because he tweeted Fed Dead with an AEW logo. And, that went as it would. And I don't want to make Bob uncomfortable, but just quickly, I'll talk a little bit to what Shoot said there because I know you can relate in a lot of ways. And you obviously posted that 15-tweet thread on Tuesday morning about it. Just kind of, condense those thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think, AEW is fun. I do look forward to watching it every week. I think there's a lot of people that I, associate with that don't give it a fair chance. And I don't think that's right. I think you should. I think everyone watching a show on the show has done it. But yeah, no, it's exciting. It's exciting to have, multiple options if you don't like how one of them's going. It's just fun. Like it is, you never know what you're going to see on there. And I think that's pretty cool.
Jeremy Lambert, you famously hate professional wrestling, but I know as your friend you've got excited a couple of times this year about AEW. I think, like seriously, we've all talked about it. I think you're probably in a similar boat, right, to some extent.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I hate professional wrestling because I have to listen to a lot of professional wrestling on top of watch a lot of professional wrestling. And once you're in deep with a lot of that stuff, it can be a chore sometimes. But certainly if AEW is not around, the chore would seem a lot tougher because they give you moments, man. I'll never forget being it All Out. Like I will never forget being at that show and how I felt during that show, and especially that closing segment. Like that was something special, and like, they give you that as a fan, and it's great. It's good stuff. I wish they'd produce less content and give us more interviews.
So, look, we're all out of order here, but I'm just, I prepared for this somewhat. And to piggyback on the AEW thing, and again, this is kind of a broad one, but I think it's worth talking about. We don't have to expand much, but man, I'm just thankful that it feels like we're again watching, covering, experiencing stuff that one day will be looked back on fondly and be talked about and be worth asking about. It makes me happy as someone that covers professional wrestling to think that maybe one day some dipshit that's on a new Fightful podcast will say, Joe, what was it like when, Bryan Danielson came out and kicked the shit out of Nick Jackson at All Out?
Joseph, we're going to be on the AEW network by the
brother.
way, talking about that stuff.
I'll be the NWA World Champion by then.
I thought that was already happening.
Oh yeah, true. I got my timeline mixed up. No, but look, for a long time, as much as wrestling, I think artistically had peaks for sure. As an industry, I think it got very stagnant in the US. Very, very stagnant. And I'm happy for everyone that got paid by WWE in that mid-20, like 2016 through a 2019 range, for sure. I'm glad they got paid. But we have to be honest in saying that it wasn't particularly great in terms of the health of the business. That there was a while there where every wrestler with a pulse appeared to be getting a contract, It's nice to be in a time that feels kind of vibrant and like exciting. And there was, you get Sean releasing these big, like, remember when being on Twitter when Adam Cole, that news dropped, it was like, holy shit, it was big stuff and it's exciting. And Tony Khan talks a lot about wanting to bring free agency back to wrestling. He's certainly done that. That's a real thing now that we can discuss and have fun with. Hopefully in a year's time, we all come back together here. Hopefully there's another player in that game. I think we all agree there won't be a third national promotion, but hopefully one of the other promotions have kind of got themselves in the game at least a little bit. And that doesn't mean ratings. That just means that, like, they're more viable for the performers. That makes sense? And it can become more exciting. But I guess, and again, I think there's a lot to add because we've already talked about AEW, but like, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that it feels like we're covering stuff that one day people are going to look back fondly on, and that we're sharing these moments, because they don't come around every other day, I must say. Some of this stuff's pretty special. It will be looked back on as a golden era in terms of quality. Maybe not in terms of big, business boom, but in terms of quality, I think people will look back and say, man, that was some good shit back in the day. So,
I mean, I'm not here right now without this stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because this was like stuff I never wanted to do.
There you go.
And now I'm doing, an excessive amount of content every week because I actually like pro wrestling. Like there's no way that I would be on here talking about wrestling I don't like. There's no way. They've created an atmosphere where I like pro wrestling again. Like,
right.
And
absolutely.
Pro wrestling is the important word there, I think.
Yeah.
We got pro wrestling back, and people get mad about that, but it's the truth. We have pro wrestling back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think people. I'll be honest with you, a lot of people that get mad at that just don't quite get the idea behind it. It doesn't mean like shoot style, very serious, straight laced professional wrestling. It's not what it means. If you know, you know, as Push would say. Bob, if you have anything to add on that, because I know you spoke about AEW length. I don't want to get you suspended again from Twitter, but like, you do a lot of podcasts. Like, wrestling was kind of boring for a while, man.
Yeah, no, it was, and it's fun. Like, it's fun, it's exciting. I look forward to seeing what we're going to see every week, and it's cool.
Yeah. Okay, Jeremy, anything else to add on that before I ask Bob for another thing he's thankful for?
No, I actually really still don't like wrestling.
Fair. Bob, what else are you thankful for?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go with Brock coming back here just because, again, I only have 3. And,
sorry, I spoiled it.
No, it's fine.
Look at the chat attacking Bob right now for this.
Yeah, it's rough. But, I talked about it like...
Hey, hang on a second. Leave his politics out of this, man.
Yeah, that's over the line.
No, I talked about it, though, right after it happened. Like, Brock and Punk coming back, like, in basically back-to-back days for me personally. Like, obviously they're different, but I was convinced for a time that, maybe Brock would just never come back. Like, he's 43, 44, and he's a guy that you can't really ever get a read on what he's doing. And, and really just personally for me to be there, not have it spoiled anywhere. No one like had the scoop that I saw, didn't see it on Twitter before it happened. And it was cool, man. Like, it's cool to have moments. And even like, if you want to zoom out a little bit, just the moments that I've been able to see in person in general this year, being there for the Punk and Kingston promo at Rampage was special too. Just being able to get back and go to shows again is not something that I'm taking for granted either.
Did Bob just get his dick out on the podcast and just put himself over? Is that what just happened? Did Bob just say he's thankful for his own amount of money that he can afford these tickets? Is that what he just do?
That AEW live experience is something though, and we're openly dunking on Joe right now, but he'll get the Craven Cottage show next year. So, like I got to see that, the Moxley Suzuki thing, which in Cincinnati, which I didn't even know was. I remember like people were mad about it online after, and I was like, well, I thought it ruled, but because I was there, and even. That's one of the episodes where I've watched it back, and it comes across pretty well, but it doesn't even come across like what it was like in that building when Moxley came out, and like you just felt. I didn't even realize that like Cincinnati had that connection with him because you didn't really see it. They didn't present him that way.
They do TV very different, right?
Yes.
Very, very different.
So it was like that when his music hit, that was a party, man. That whole night was a party, but that specifically, that's a feeling I legitimately will never forget it. And that was just a weekly TV show that I was there live for. Like, and I got to see Punk, and that was a weird thing for me because I realized that I had never actually seen Punk come out to Cult of Personality before. The last time I'd seen him live was a couple months before Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
The thing hadn't even started yet. The pipe bomb was like 3 or 4 weeks after I'd seen him live last. I can't recommend that enough. That live experience is something different than any WWE show I've ever. I don't even mean that as a shot. Like I've had a lot of fun at WWE.
You can tell.
No, it's different though. It's
totally different. Yeah.
There you go. Direct shot of the pause there. Apparently live on this Distraction podcast. Jeremy Lambert, lead wrestling writer for Fightful.com. What else are you thankful for, pal?
Nothing.
All right. So I am personally and this may be a little bit of an old one for some, because I know the style isn't for everyone. My friend and I, the confirmed shit, we were kicking around some ideas for content a couple of weeks back, and we began to ponder the depth of tag team wrestling and its place in the industry in a different era. I won't spoil it because we're going to eventually get to doing something involved in this. And I was sitting there thinking about this the other day when I was watching the Full Gear pay-per-view on Bleacher Report, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on November 13th. Check your replays now. And it really dawned on me how many tag teams in professional wrestling I actively am a fan of, or that I think even more so that are in other promotions that I think could be like incredible in the right setting. And I guess I am thankful for the fact that tag team wrestling has kind of become sexy again at some point over the last 5-6 years. I think now you would depend on what side of the lane you're on, you could credit that to the Young Bucks. Definitely deserve credit for that. Like they 100% do, and anyone saying they don't is being silly. I will say that for me personally, with how my fandom was, the Revival, they're running NXT as the tag team champs. The Revival was like, I'll be completely real. That was the first time that I ever saw tag team wrestling as like a main event piece of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time,
there's a lot of credit for tag team.
Absolutely. Yeah. The longest time, tag team wrestling had become 12-minute matches in the middle of a pay-per-view card. And NXT became almost this like love letter to old school Southern tag team wrestling with the Revival. And like we had to be real. Revival were a big part of why that happened. But they had dance partners, DIY, American Alpha. And then, best of all, they were followed by some good teams. Fish and O'Reilly, Roddy and O'Reilly were great teams. AEW right now has just some incredible tag teams. They go about 12 teams deep. I think even more than that, perhaps. And there's others. There's teams in Ring of Honor I like. There's teams in there's a couple teams in Impact. There's a couple teams in WWE that I think we all agree that if they had the ability to do what they could do in AEW or somewhere else, we would see that how great they are. But they're great as they are, no doubt. I guess it isn't perfect. I still would love to see the AEW tag team titles main event at pay-per-view one day. I don't think that's impossible. I really don't think that's impossible. But man, I think sometimes I myself lose sight of like tag team wrestling's kind of fought back uphill over this last decade, man. It wasn't always this way, Shoot, you're the I was going to say oldest. That seems wrong. You're the senior member of the team. Okay, talk a little bit about the tag, because tag team wrestling's gone through a lot of ups and downs.
I went through a stretch where I didn't care about tag team wrestling at all, and I've come to realize that was because of the way it was being presented to me, and not because I just didn't like tag team wrestling.
Right. Yeah,
like perfect example. Some of like those early WWE games when the Universe mode, when it first started, like 12, 13, I would delete the tag team titles. I wouldn't even have a tag division, because I didn't care.
Yeah.
And now, I love tag team wrestling again, and I don't really remember how I felt about tag team wrestling as a kid. I guess I love the Rockers, so I'm sure the Rockers were my guys there that first year I watched wrestling. So I'm sure I like tag team wrestling, but the current good tag team wrestling is tremendous, man. Yeah. Not having the set formula for every tag team match.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, AEW doesn't have formulaic tag, because, professional wrestling's formulaic, but not every single match feels like, they're doing they've got like the 5 boxes they've got to check in order for it to be a tag team match. It's definitely the tag team wrestling in general. And again, it didn't start with AEW. This isn't an AEW love fest, even though at times it's felt like it. It started with NXT and it started with the Young Bucks. But the division they've built.
Oh, it's strong.
They don't always do the best, like you said. They don't always do the best job of, but the depth is insane, man. Probably unmatched. I don't know if we've ever seen tag team depth like this.
I agree, yeah, and especially it's one thing to have a bunch of teams, but they have a lot of teams that I have faith could have a strong tag title match, which is different to just pairing guys and being like, we have depth. They have. I mean, there are teams. Private Party is a team that every time I've seen them in the last 6 months, maybe more, I've been so impressed by development, and they're still waiting for a real shot. Right?
Santana and Ortiz feel like they could lead the tag division. They haven't really even scratched the obvious example.
Yet. their ceiling remains.
Yeah.
I think there's still potential they haven't fulfilled, and that's not on them. It's just like waiting for the opportunity. Hopefully, we kind of see that trend continue. Jeremy, where are you at on the wonderful art of tag team wrestling?
I was in the same boat as Shoot, where like tag team wrestling, when I would play TW and stuff, I was like, do I really need to like book tag teams and do tag team titles and stuff? It seems kind of pointless. I think the New Day and Usos should get some credit for this, because that Hell in a Cell match and that feud overall still one of my favorite things WWE has done in the last decade or so. And then NXT, Young Bucks, and everything AEW has kind of done right now has certainly elevated it to a different level. When it is done right, and when you can provide those stories and have guys that can tell those stories in the ring, it's something different and it's something special, and we hadn't seen it for a long time, and we started to see it more and more over the last couple of years, and it's been enjoyable. Like the Young Bucks, man, we've talked about it, Joseph. Like, you can try to dunk on these guys and act like they're just spot guys and everything. Like, that's an all-time special team.
History's going to be very kind to them.
Oh yeah, of course.
Wait 15 years from now, they're going to be seen as like
the team.
Joe, I think we just talked about this last weekend. Like, I think we both agree the two best matches in AEW history are tag team matches.
I honestly, truly believe in my heart that when it's done correctly and the right pieces are in play, I think it's the most enjoyable form of professional wrestling. And here's my kind of like disclaimer to that. In particular, for people that aren't big wrestling fans, I think tag team wrestling is so exciting, and there is a real human element that I think kind of goes understated to like watching two dudes you like or dislike trying to, ironically, coexist. And you can do moments like one that comes to mind from this year, from my favorite match of the year. Penta jumping in front of Phoenix and taking the bullet in the cage match. Okay, well, if you're into the match, it's a great moment, a great visual, but like, at chorus, an older brother taking the shot for his younger brother. And there's something that we can all understand, we can all relate to, like there's such a kind of rich story potential with tag wrestling. It's almost hard to have a great tag match without any kind of, you can do spot fest, but there'll always be some sense of personality and identity. And I've just, you mentioned those matches, Shoot, and like that's referring to Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, Young Bucks, Hangman and Kenny, right?
Yeah.
But like one of my favorite AEW matches is King and Mox versus the Young Bucks.
Yes, great match.
There's more they can do, all promotions, but like there is a real magic to watching guys as one. And it doesn't have to always be a full-time team. Like, honestly, some of the greatest tag matches ever are those, All Japan 4 Pillars matches. And at some point, WWE got so abusive with the like thrown together teams that people hate any of that. It doesn't have to be that way. Not every team has to team together for 10 years. It's about the story. It's about how you treat it. And if the tag team titles feel like they mean as much as the world titles, just in a different form of wrestling, you're doing your job correctly. If they feel like a mid-card thing, you need to go back to the drawing board, in my personal opinion. Like top guys chasing the tag belts can be a really wonderful thing. I just mentioned Mox and King's different because there's a lot of story there. But like, they're not going to be they're like a part-time team. It didn't matter.
Hangman and Kenny were a team that you never really thought were going to be a tag team. And that is another beauty of tag team wrestling is, you have literal brothers who team and be together for decades and ages, and they come together as one. But sometimes you can put two different guys, two different styles, and then they have to try to get on the same page and come up with one singular style. Yeah. But then you still see their individual styles in that match. And that goes with teams that have teamed for decades and everything. You can still see the individual styles in the match. So you're getting two different team styles and then four different individual styles within one match. And like it's something incredible, like you said, Joseph, when it's done right.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget that like we actually saw that happen with the Revival. The Revival didn't come into NXT as a tag team. Like,
exactly.
Now they weren't really on TV all the time. But we still saw them. Like, they were both kind of job guys, and then we saw them come together and start to be taken seriously. And like, so we've seen that. That's always fun when like you get to see a tag. Like, even an example that I would give that maybe not like Breeze and Fandango, seeing their chemistry and be like, wait, we have something here. Like that's always fun to see that.
Absolutely, it's something that wrestling is getting better with, but I think hopefully as the Young Bucks, and all these teams, their influence, continues to increase. Hopefully, we kind of normalize a top guy being in a tag team doesn't have to be necessarily a demotion. Sometimes it could be the best work they ever produce. It can happen. You can do great stuff. Now,
look at Leo and Dante right now.
There you go, perfect. I was going to throw it at Bob O'Neill, but Jeremy, I don't know if you've seen that little clock in the corner of our screen here. It's time for a certain segment, I think.
His three-pointer, bang!
Okay, now
Bob O'Neill's here. Time for Bob O'Neill's three. Yeah, what technicals?
Well, we can clip that.
Huh?
Everyone freeze for a second so Jeremy can clip that out easily.
Now, hang on. Jeremy, can we do it? Because you're at the control here. Can we do it so that Bob's like he looks like the TV screen and we're like the buttons on the side? Can we do that, please?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, cool. God bless, man.
You ready, O'Neill?
No.
His three-pointer, bang!
Okay. Yeah, no, the tag team thing, I'm glad you guys, I don't have anything else planned. Come on.
How are the Bulls doing?
Football that was on today. Talk about what you ate. It's Thanksgiving, O'Neill.
Yeah, I didn't eat anything yet. I'm not one of those people on Thanksgiving that eats at 3:00. We eat dinner at a normal time. I've never enjoyed that. You get people that eat. You're gonna eat a dinner at like 1:00.
Bob.
Yep.
Have you watched Halloween Kills yet?
Yes, I watched it on Monday.
Your thoughts. Give me a full review. You got about 2 minutes 30 here. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was very good. I didn't really understand what was going on. I should probably watch the other movies, but I thought it was good. Pretty cool. Pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Do you think that movie, true or false, that movie would be better if instead of Michael Myers, it was just 55-year-old Mark Calloway playing the Undertaker?
True.
Agreed. Did you happen to catch his escape from the Undertaker thing that the New Day did?
No,
if so, please review it.
I've been meaning to watch it. I don't actually have Netflix at the moment.
Have you watched WWE's new Ruthless Aggression program on the WWF Network or Peacock?
Yes, I've watched all 5 episodes of those.
Please review those in great detail.
One was about the Hollywood Rock, which my favorite form of the Rock. Caught some heat the other day. I said that Rock Austin at WrestleMania 19 was better than WrestleMania 17. I stand by that. People are upset about it, but yeah.
I agree.
Actually, yeah, I mean, but yeah, no, I'm glad there is.
You don't prefer sedimentary rock?
No, I can't say that I do. That was good though. Yeah, no, the Bears won today. Justin Fields looked real good. Went to Ohio State, who Michigan's going to beat this weekend. I can't even do that, man. They're not. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, still riding high from that.
How do you feel? How do you feel about the Bulls' loss to the Rockets last night? That was tough.
That's tough. They got to start, not playing down to teams. That's what's frustrating when you're a good team and you play down to other teams. Like you see a team you should roll through, and then you're losing to them. Like when the Bulls lost to 6.
How do you feel about them trading DeRozan and Levine to Philadelphia for Simmons yesterday?
Wow. That was surprising. I didn't see that one coming, man. Like really blindsided me. Not a move I would have made, but let it play out.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised by the players, but the 3 first-round picks was kind of like. Wow.
Seemed excessive.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
They overpaid a little bit.
2 would have been enough.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Thanksgiving, huh? You guys like Thanksgiving? It's not really fun, I guess, but...
I love when it becomes crowd work. It's my favorite thing.
Thanksgiving, folks. How about it?
Yeah.
Pretty good, huh? Pretty cool.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving like side dish, O'Neill? What's your favorite? Oh, that has been Robert O'Neill's.
Okay, can I just say, like, this is outrageous, but it's true, and Shoot will probably take him no time to believe this. Legitimately, I was waiting to say your thoughts on the Bulls trading Lonzo and Levine for Ben Simmons, and as I had it in the chamber, Shoot said the exact same joke. I mean, he changed one of the names, I think, but incredible. Same brain, folks. You do this much content, you know what's going on. It's simple. Anyway. Thanks for that, Bob. It's just, people sometimes tune in at that time. I have to give it to them.
It's true.
We check the quarter hours. Now, Bob, do you want to talk about tag team wrestling a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed it. You guys kind of all nailed it. The teams that I have really enjoyed and got me back into it. FTR's back. You hearing that more and more. Yeah, no, I mean, they're great. They got me into it in NXT, obviously, and because for a long time it didn't matter in WWE, and it probably still doesn't. I mean, outside of the Usos and New Day, but it's good that it's back.
Dirty Dogs.
Yes, they're
Who
good.
are the Raw Tag Team Champions, O'Neal?
The Raw Tag Team Champions are Orton and Riddle still, I believe. Because
no, they actually lost them to the Dirty Dogs on Monday. Watch the product. Who are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, O'Neal?
Angel and Umberto.
No, they actually lost them to the Dirty Dogs on Monday. You should watch the product.
Wow. Owned.
Wow. Just dunked on.
All right. Now, Bob, don't let Jeremy shut you down like that.
To be fair, Bob, I don't think you should watch the product, so you're fine.
Fair.
Fair.
Your time, Bob, to share something else that you're thankful for, buddy.
Yeah, I thought of one more. I have a third one that I want to save for the end, but I thought of one more, and I want to give some
Texas Wrestling Federation.
Yes.
Okay.
That is great, but I do want to give some love specifically.
Go ahead, Bob.
Specifically, want to shout out the Dark Order.
Good stuff.
Because really one of the first things that got me into AEW back when I was like, I'm not going to watch any of the main event guys. I don't like them. And as it turns out, when you watch them, they're all pretty good. But, the thing is, with the Dark Order, and I like the story they've been doing, you kind of talked about it, like, not all tag teams have to break up. They're all clearly friends. They have a mutual goal. They fight, but they don't let it get in their way. It's a realistic thing. Like, everyone has friends like that. And, John Silver was probably my first favorite AEW wrestler.
Hang on. Which members of the Dark Order do you have friends like? Because I'm now really intrigued. Like, do you have any Bruno in your life?
Yeah, please.
No, you're right.
Please compare your friends to Alan Angels, Colt Cabana.
Look, them two seem like the easier ones. But look, I think we all dunk on Bob. That's actually a really good one that I hadn't thought of.
Yeah.
And like, what a wonderfully human story the Dark Order has been. And there's many words I would have used to describe it 2 years ago, but that wouldn't have been one of it. It's like the most relatable thing in wrestling. There's like a real emotional punch to everything they do for obvious reasons, but also because they've all done an awesome job of being great at what they do, And Silver is a real player. He's a middle finger to the kind of industry trend of a decade ago of like measuring dudes like they're fucking on a scouting report, which is not how professional wrestling works. That dude connects with people and he gets over. He can main event on TV anytime. So yeah, it's a very good one. I'm sure you've gone through like a little bit of a roller coaster with the Dark Order guys. Like they're beloved now, yeah.
Oh yeah, it wasn't all these guys then, but they were part of what was probably the worst segment in AEW history, where we all kind of went, "Uh-oh!" Like that last show of 2019. And obviously Brody played a big role in changing that narrative, and then they deserve credit too. That's not. And that some of that was BTE, which is not. I don't really watch BTE, but I've definitely people have put out clips that is just all the Dark Order stuff, and I've watched those. All you have to look at is when they were like fighting with each other, and like the crowd was genuinely upset about it, not like chanting "Please don't fight," and like. I think everyone was like, they better not break these guys up. And it was like, I don't think we all thought they were going to, but it's like, there's real investment. And then they're not main event players. They don't have to be. Silver probably can be.
Yeah.
But they're important. They're part of the backbone of the company. They lose a lot and it doesn't even matter because they're presented the way they're presented. They maybe lose a little too much actually.
Gun Club.
Yeah. We have nights on YouTube where we literally see the entire Dark Order except for John Silver lose in the same episode, maybe 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys, they all seem like we never know, and you always want to be careful with stuff like this, but they seem like tremendous people too. So again, you always want to be very careful with that. But
we learned Allison with Bob on that front.
Yeah.
Actually, if I could just go back to the tag teams just for 1 minute, because I shouted out John Silver as my first favorite AEW wrestler, but Butcher and Blade really got me into it.
Tag team.
And that's actually a great one, Bob, because, when I was talking about tag team wrestling, it's easy to get lost in, rightly, the kind of stunning modern matches that are available with guys like the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks, but part of why tag team wrestling is fun again is because there is range. And the Butcher and the Blade, man, they're the top heel tag team of your favorite territory in the 1970s. You know, and that's cool. I love that.
Their debut was peak AEW too. Because they just like showed up, and Allie, who had been Allie on TV was suddenly just the bunny, and your immediate reaction was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And then by 3 weeks later, they had already won you over. They're very good.
The bunkhouse match still stands out to me. One of my favorite Dynamite matches.
Absolutely, that was awesome. They've had every time they get given a chance to have a real tag match, they nail it. You know, I loved the match they had with the Usos on this week's episode of Elevation. You know, so it's absolutely correct. Now,
that's like the third time I've fallen for that bit where I was like, wait, what?
Crosby. Remember when we get Crosby every single time with it?
We had him one time where he was like actively uncomfortable with what we'd missed. He was like, wait, guys, what? That was early days in our relationship with the great Jack Crosby. I have my final one if you guys.
Wait. Do I not get to say anything about the Dark Order? Do I not?
Nice for the group chat. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like professional wrestling.
I'm sorry. No, Jeremy, go ahead.
Thankful? I have something else that I'm thankful for.
I just wanted to conclude mine, but I want to let you do Dark Order first.
Okay. Dark Order. Well, everybody else went around. I didn't know.
But here's the thing is, like, 20 minutes into this show, I threw it to Shoot, I believe, and his legitimate answer was, I don't have anything else I'm thankful for. So at that point, I kind of give up on winning I just was going to kind of lead the show, but, that was my take on it. But.
Dark Order, as everybody knows, I'm a member of the Dark Order, thanks to Luther initiated me through John Silver.
God bless, man.
Dude, John Silver rules. He's tremendous. Yeah, he's tremendous. Dark Order's been great. And
Bob and I have another friend who's a member of the Dark Order. That's a joke for me and Bob that nobody else is going to get, but we can move on now. More of content like that at latenightgrin.com.
I hope that's not a cowboy hat joke. Carry on, Jeremy.
That's not a cowboy hat joke. Yeah.
I mean, you guys said that there's nobody to be a top guy. Like, Hangman Page is the top guy.
He's not in Dark Order, though.
He's Dark
Order.
When they Dark Order adjacent.
When they came out for that famous entrance, they were announced as the Dark Order.
That's fair.
So he kind of is.
Yeah. I think he's everything the Dark Order is. Just kind of ragtag guys who no one wanted, and they became friends.
Fair. It's a backhanded compliment, but yeah.
Yeah, they lost people who found their way. Like that's.
Oh,
I put in with Ty Conti that they're Dark Order adjacent. They're not actually in the Dark Order.
Yeah,
kind of like I'm not actually in the Distraction universe. I'm just adjacent to it.
Fair. Oh, that's fun. Now, Jeremy, would you like to go next? Then I'm sorry.
I just compared myself to Hangman Adam Page. By the way, I
thought you were comparing yourself to Ty Conti.
Yeah, I thought you were comparing yourself to Ty Conti.
Fair.
Jeremy, would you like to go next?
I'm thankful for the New Day.
Oh, good stuff. Yes.
That'll probably be the only Fed shout out on this show. So
no, they fucking rule. Any wrestling fan worth a damn loves the New Day.
Yeah. Going back to the mental health conversation, all three of them very open about it in interviews. Kofi, Big E, Xavier, like that power positivity thing, like not just a gimmick with those guys, and like they preach it in interviews. The fact that they're asked a million times, hey, when are you guys going to break up? Why don't you break up and stuff? And they're like, no, we're not going to fucking do that. Like, we're best friends. We're going to continue to be best friends. We can be on other shows. We can keep supporting each other. Woods willed this King of the Ring victory. Big E becoming WWE champion. Kofi continues to be like just one of the most consistent guys in the Federation. Like, they're one of the very few bright spots of that Federation on screen. And then off screen, they are just beacons in this shitty industry.
I will say that I also relate in the sense that, like, when Sean came to me and wanted to do the Hulbert hour on Fightful, I was like,
that was exactly where I was going.
I was like, we're friends. We're not breaking up anytime soon. We're going to do this together. And, I didn't fight for you guys to get paid as much as I do, but at least I'd stayed on the show, right? So, anyway, Shoot, now that I've stole your bit, go ahead.
Yeah, I was literally going to say that's exactly what Joe says every time I ask him when he's dumping Jeremy.
Wow.
Wow, that would have been an own.
Yeah, oh well.
Was that a worse own than me saying this is the Monday Night Raw of my schedule?
Yeah, that was bad. That's what I figure you guys feel anyway, so like, thanks for confirming it.
You're the only one here that I've actually hung out with in real life, so.
My God. Here's the thing about the distraction.
Oh, no reaction there. That felt like a shot.
What do you want me to say?
Okay,
you guys have been burying me all show.
I'm going to be sincere here for a minute, okay? I see every show I do as a chance to have a great professional wrestling match, okay? But Thursdays, and Jeremy knows this, I've talked to him about it. Thursdays is our television. And we show up and we have to do like a really weird, like contained version of what we do for the rest of the week. And often we've already burnt through all of our topics. I don't want to come on and just say Fed dead for an hour and a half because there's like 4,000 people that watch it. And I don't want to get put in group chats or screenshotted or So it's just difficult. It's Monday Night Raw. It's like, I don't want to botch on TV, right? When we're doing these, well, not this. This is actually the show. Fuck. When we're doing the show we did yesterday or the day before or the day before that, like, I can just sit there and pop myself, That's the truth of it.
Why can't it be Dynamite, though? Why does it have to be Raw?
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Okay, edit this in. Ready? Everyone sit still. The distraction is my Dynamite. How do you think that will go? Good?
Yeah, okay. I think that was a good take.
Okay, cool. All right. Are you guys ready for my final I'm thankful for?
Yes.
Bob, do you want to talk about the New Day?
No, I mean, you guys covered it. You can go ahead.
New Day's great, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
As my father gets into professional wrestling, I'm thinking a lot about the elderly wrestling fan. And, I was looking earlier today at the NWA the NWA pay-per-view card that's coming up.
Sorry to hear that.
The NWA pay-per-view card that's coming up. And I was sitting there like, man, it's so cool that there's wrestling out there that kind of brings people back to their glory days. There's wrestling that's like a love letter to how it used to be and all that stuff. And I was like, it's just fucking awesome that Bruce Pritchard is using NXT 2.0 as a tribute to 1993 Monday Night Raw. And I don't think you haters in wrestling media give that enough attention. Like, my dad's never watched NXT 2.0, but it's really cool that there's like a product that's like aimed at him. Like, this is, remember this? That's awesome, man. Like, the colors may panic him a little bit, but like the product is for him, and that means a lot to me. It really does.
I mean, I don't think, someone who watched wrestling then,
yeah,
I think it is cool to have a show on TV where you can say, hey, you remember the professional wrestling show that you fucking hated?
But the industry's low. Yeah.
That's, I think I appreciate them doing that.
Yeah. Like, it almost is like a science experiment, right? Like, can we, as the industry tries its best to come out of the grave, can we pull it back to its absolute rock bottom?
Right.
There's something to be said for that. Bob, you once famously predicted that NXT 2.0 would revolutionize professional wrestling. Your thoughts on what I'm thankful for?
Yeah, I think, first of all, we need to let it play out. It's only been a couple months. Maybe they're playing the long game. I think you always
marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that everyone has something they can connect with, no matter when you liked wrestling. If you were a fan of that stuff that was apparently bad that I've never watched and don't really have any desire to watch, you like this, good for you. If you don't like it, don't watch.
Complaining is not conversation.
That too, yeah.
Wow. I love when Bob just hits his spots, don't you? Just runs that hot tag. Jeremy, you may have seen the most of NXT 2.0. Actually, no, you haven't watched any of it.
Yeah, I watched the first week.
Because I was thinking like you cover it, and I was like, no, he actually doesn't, thankfully.
Yeah.
That was a good bit by me, huh?
That was very good. It was good because the demographic and everything.
Yeah.
That was good.
For about 2 seconds when I mentioned my dad, everyone was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a little much."
Yeah, I knew you kind of spoiled it earlier when you mentioned dunking on NXT 2.0.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew exactly. That's why I started laughing.
Yeah, I knew where it was going. Yeah.
Wow, I've been fucking owned. That's me done.
It was good though.
How much for my comedic chops, huh?
It shows how Joe and I are on the same page.
Factual.
That was a bit before we started doing shows together, so
often referred to as the FTR of wrestling podcasting.
Yeah.
Anyway, incredible! What incredible day that will be when that compliment actually comes through. Bob, hang on a second. Does anyone else have anything else they're thankful for before we let Bob close it out? No,
I'm thankful for Bob O'Neill.
Oh, man, so am I. Let's actually do that for a minute. Seriously. No, I'm not even going to do a bit here about his political beliefs or the fact that he's a, raving lunatic when it comes to guns. Seriously, watching Bob O'Neill over the last I would say year, because he did the draft show in October last year, and like he came on the distraction full time earlier this year. Watching his confidence climb and watching him realize not only do we actually like him beyond being like a Twitter personality. No, genuinely, I'm not even doing a bit. I'm being serious. We Shoot and I especially, because like Jeremy, we all did a bit when he first came on the show of like, oh fuck Bob O'Neill. We still did it on the start of this show, hilariously. But Shoot and I both experienced the moment when Bob actually realized, like, oh, they actually like me. Like, they want to meet me when we come to this show that never happened, right? And Jeremy, I know you're the same. You'd love to. Watching that has been really fun. And watching him realize the audience loves him and hates the show and he's not on it is awesome. And I want to give love to my friend Bob for being honest about, like, when he's not sure of himself or when his confidence goes through ups and downs, because we all do it. And I want Bob to know that the day that he doesn't do the distraction or the late night grin, both those shows are, let's be honest, they've jumped the shark at that point, right? He is the show. Let's be real about it, man. I'm not even doing a bit. Like, thank you, Bob O'Neill. I love you and your hilarious hats.
No, I appreciate that because, I do go through that. Even as recently as a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I'm not very good at this, but I've gotten to the point where, I don't try and let that bother me. Like, I enjoy doing it. People seem to enjoy me on here, so that's all I can ask for. And, if I don't think I'm good at it, what is good at this sort of thing anyway?
Yeah.
None
of us are actually good at this. I don't know.
Yeah, actual.
Yeah.
It's an experience when we do a show. I can't speak for here. It's probably even worse with the distraction, which I'm not affiliated with. But when we do shows on latenightgrin.com and Bob's not there, and like every 3 to 4 minutes, someone in the chat asks where Bob is. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, this is a real thing. And we have to keep telling them that, like, Bob's not going to be here. Then we're not doing a bit. Like, Bob doesn't feel good. So yeah, people. I don't know the right way. You're like somehow both the comic relief and the straight man in the comedy duo, like at the same time.
He's the heart and soul, brother. Right?
Yeah.
He's the
Bud Matt of.
Nah, he's more over. If we're being honest with ourselves. Shoot and I have seen the numbers that poor Bud's ones do on the old Patreon. If we did a Bob O'Neill watch along, it would do much better than our poor Bud Matt ones. I'm being honest with you.
If you go back and watch O'Neill's performance in the famous 2020 draft.
Yeah, man. Different time, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it has been a progression for all of us. Like, this podcast has blown up in the last year. I would say it's around a year, Jeremy. I don't know. You remember the timeline better because SmackDown reviews, which that's you brought that audience. But when I first was writing and stuff, like, any kind of audience, the idea of that was crazy to me. So the fact that we have people that actually like somewhat give a shit about us, but not just us, they really love Bob O'Neill, prefer him to all of us. It's pretty awesome, I have to say. So anyway, anything else on the great Bob O'Neill before he shares his final, what he's thankful for? Gimmick.
O'Neill, even though I got Emmy winners, scoop breakers, respected media members, and my mother to say, fuck Bob O'Neill, I want you to know that I do love you.
We all love you, Bob, and that's why we hope you get vaccinated soon.
Oh, oh dear. That was fair. We did a good job there.
Yeah.
Bob,
it's kind of funny you brought that up because my last one was, I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for these platforms. Like, it really does mean a lot to me. I want to shout out Steven Jensen as well. Really enjoyed getting to do shows with him. He's great. Jack Crosby, Oracle Wrestling. I'm sure I'm forgetting people.
Cowards.
But it's nice. It's nice to have this. I don't have to. I mean, part of it is like it's nice to not just have to tweet everything you think about wrestling because that's a minefield and doesn't have to be necessarily, but it is. It is what it is. But like, it's nice to have this. You can expand on your thoughts. I enjoy talking to you guys. It's nice. It's fun. It's a highlight of my week to do these shows. It's just good stuff, man.
Wow. If people at home are thinking, man, they knew that was coming, so they give Bob the big. They put him over beforehand, but we didn't know, folks. Spontaneity and the chemistry on these programs is not matched elsewhere. We all came in here and just talked about how great we were for the last 20 minutes of the show. What we do, don't need to be Thanksgiving for that, clearly, but no, absolutely. We obviously all share that sentiment. Like, especially the thing about having a place to just sit and talk, like, There's something to be said for that, both on this platform and the one that we're not affiliated with officially at latenightgrin.com. We can sign up for just $1.
If you don't enjoy it, O'Neal will give you your $1 back.
That's true. I mean, I can say flat out I wouldn't do this with anybody else, but you guys and Oracle and Jack. It's funny because, like, 100% honestly, an hour, when we were half hour from starting this show, I was like, I don't really feel like doing this. Like, 100% honest, I wasn't in the mood. And then I get on here and it's a blast every time. Like, I don't, I mean, it's just fun. We have fun. We put smiles on faces. No, in all seriousness, and I know we're on the distraction right now, and this isn't my thing, but I know there are a lot of people who watch this that also watch our stuff on latenightgrin.com, where you can sign up for $1 a month. I really am thankful for you guys. Like, the comments that we get, and we're just guys having fun, and like the fact that you guys are along for the ride with us is incredible. And the thing that you two, Joe and Jeremy, built here, like, there is no Late Night Grim without the distraction. All of our jokes about them not being affiliated and all those things, but like, none of this stuff exists without what you guys built. So, if without that, Bob's just like a fed bootlicker on Twitter that nobody likes, and I've probably deleted my account because I've got tired of being dunked on and don't want to talk about wrestling anymore. So yeah, I mean, you guys have built something special here. That's the last time I'm going to be nice to Jeremy Lambert, but there you go.
Fair.
Well, that's fair. You know what else I'm thankful for, Jeremy?
What's that?
Sour Boy. Hit the clip, Jeremy. Hit the clip, Jeremy.
It's the wrong show. Wrong show. Joseph.
Wait, what?
It's the wrong show.
You got to hit the clip now. You have to.
I don't think he has it.
You don't have the clip?
All right, let's go.
Oh, boy.
No.
So we got a real big problem. Somebody keeps fucking me here.
There was a second where I thought you didn't actually have the clip, and I was like, I've ruined the whole show.
No, when you said you don't have the clip, I kind of figured that's where you're going. I saw a Family Guided of, wait, we don't have a clip, and then the clip plays.
Oh, man. Just more of us putting ourselves over. Anyway, we're almost an hour and a half. We should probably do some plugs, get the hell out of here. Confirm shoot. Where can the people find you?
So I can be seen on latenightgrin.com from anywhere from 4 to 15 hours a week, depending on my mood. We do the world famous Late Night Grin every Friday night at 11:05 p.m. Eastern, where we do 4 hours of absolute nonsense that you can watch for $1 a month. Bob and I have a TEW series where we're booking the Texas territory from 1991. We've got watch-along stuff going on. We're only a few months from us just watching our old shows back and doing a watch-along of those just to pop ourselves. We also have latenightgrinshop.com, where you can buy the shirt I'm wearing right now, as well as a number of other things that really don't need to exist. You can buy a Bob O'Neal shirt that he gets zero cut of.
Sure.
So yeah, join us at latenightgrin.com, which is not affiliated with this platform you're watching right now.
Bob O'Neal, promote yourself, pal.
You follow me on Twitter at Robert O'Neal 31. And yeah, I am also on the Late Night Grin a few hours a week, depending on what we're up to that week. It's good stuff, man. $1 gets you in. If you don't like it, I'll refund your $1. Limit $1. If you pay more than $1 and you don't like it, it's not,
I want to be clear, that's Bob's stance. My stance is, if you don't like it, shut the fuck up.
It's fair.
Very fair. Yeah, same deal. You already know. LateNightGrin.com. At Joe Hulbert. The Fightful Distraction Fightful channel that we have. That we need to keep talking about WWE because that does good views. You can see us talking about Survivor Series 3 days ago. So if you haven't watched that already, go do it. You can see us talking about Ring of Honor 2 days ago. So you haven't seen that, do it. You can see us preview Dynamite about 20 hours ago. So go and see that if you haven't. There is no post show because this was definitely not taped. And join us at latenightgrin.com. Sign up for just $1. And if you don't like it, Bob will refund you. Thanks, everyone.
Don't go to latenightgrin.com. It's not affiliated with this program. Please do not lump me into that. I don't know what latenightgrin.com is.
Fair.
I don't think these gentlemen do excellent work over there, and I don't think you should support them for $1. And I do think you should ask Bob O'Neill for your $1 back for not liking it. So do not go to latenightgrin.com.